Let's hit it up. I welcome
Episode 4.
everyone.
Let's go.
All right, what's going on, people? You already know.
You
What's
already
up,
know.
CTU? CTU.
You know who the
All right,
podcast
you know the gang now, exactly.
You
Yes,
should know by now. It's episode 4.
it's
You ain't with the
episode 4.
program right now. Listen,
Oh snap! Tell them.
program is already here. I myself, you already know. Stray Guns over here. You know, to my left, who you be? Who you be? The guy on my left. Who you
Who
be?
you be? Who you be to the guy on your left? I'm gonna assume that's me because it's his unique story. All right, and I like to tell fables. So let's go. And I'm not copyrighting Xbox, so let's do this. And the man to the bottom, yo, who's the man at the bottom? I don't know who that is.
Oh, just a humble young man out here just trying to do right.
Oh,
The
Sap Humble.
crownless king, because there ain't nothing
Crownless
like
king.
the crownless king, yes, sir.
All right, let's go. I like it.
Listen,
Crownless King.
listen.
All right.
Episode 4. We've been here. Sorry about the late start. A lot of things happen. Things happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can catch us.
What we hear.
You can catch us on Friday. Friday is going to be an interesting day. Hopefully, we can talk about another topic one day on Friday. But today's topics are: why are people so sensitive? We're going to open it up like that. What's going on with the sensitivity of the world?
Why are people so sensitive?
I don't know.
Listen.
Sensitivity is a little bit. We gotta be specific sensitivity because sensitivity is like
Sensitivity?
when you
Why
throw
are-
that out there, it's kind of like crazy.
Why are people sensitive over jokes that a comedian makes?
I see what you're talking about.
Okay.
I think it has to do with a little bit of an issue I like to call too sensitive, right? Too sensitive. That would be the correct word. People too sensitive, and I think they don't necessarily know how to withstand either criticism or being put on the roasting table. You know what I mean? Like when you grow up in high school, you at the roast table, like you're gonna roast somebody, and you're also gonna get roasted. So when you
Right.
step into that table and you're listening to the jokes, once you're in the presence, you got to be prepared to be taking the flames and throw the flames back. And I honestly think that the individuals that either cannot take a joke or like a certain Mr. Smith, or I don't know about this dude that happened at a concert quite recently, but it just seems like people are just attacking comedians, attacking people that are known for, putting you on the roast, because when you go to the concert, you could potentially become roast material.
You can be the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
Joke, and listen, people need to stop getting like angry about jokes. There was a time and a place where everybody was pointing at each other, everybody was making fun of each other, and now it feels like everybody gets like angry about, oh, you're this, you're that, and then it's like it's a joke, guys. You shouldn't be so angry about me making a funny joke about who you are and what you do. I'm not seriously saying it to you. I'm not making you angry, too, in any stature.
I would be completely honest. This might sound a little, tinfoil. Everybody, let's put our caps on. I was watching a video last night, actually, that was not essential to this topic, but definitely something that can supplement it. Coming at y'all from very left field, honestly, I'm going to just say Reddit moderators. Okay, cool. So the reason being is if y'all ever notice, there's a lot of things that get censored. You feel me? And I don't just mean things that get censored. I mean people's opinions get censored.
Yeah.
And obviously Reddit's been here for about a long time, probably 20 plus years, if not less, a little less. But anyways, the guy was just like, yo, over the years, these moderators have gotten more and more power to just silence those whose opinions they don't agree with. And then by extension, that's bleeding out into our current day society where everybody's just pushed into their little think tanks and thought bubbles where they all share the same opinions. And
Right.
then it's come to a point where, like, if you have the slightest disagreement, you need to go. You're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
welcome here.
Oh.
You know, and I go ahead.
My fault. Because this is my question to you and to Trayvon. Do you think that's because it's because of any political affiliation that this comes from? Like the origin is political? Because I think it essentially started with, with like the left and right, because everyone in this country is essentially either left or right, or they really don't know or don't care.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, if that's where the mass majority, like, this is the 2-team football team, you essentially only have two sides, or
Right.
unless you don't watch it at all. And so, like, I think it a lot of media really focuses on the people that react, like you say, the people that, either you join our cause or you're out of here. Like, we're just gonna kick you out. There's no, well, you can have a little nuance to the situation. No, it has to be this. That's it. That's all it is.
Okay.
I personally think that's the radical left and the radical right. And I think that it's not that big in numbers that's the case, but I think it's growing more in popularity because they're the loudest people that speak. So I wanted to ask, like, do you guys think that that's the case, or do you think it just comes from another aspect or area of society?
Like, it's a lot. I feel like, let's put it like this: the whole cancel culture, that stigmatization, and everything around that. Look at it like a cybernetic brain, right? And then all the causes, all the reasons of it forming into this brain are just the, like, I wouldn't even call them blood vessels. There's a little wire just going into the brain, So I would say that there's a lot of sources that ended up creating this problem. You know what I mean? I feel like if we dig deep enough, we could see that it's like one particular thing over the other one.
Right.
But I feel like it's become such a conglomerate of, people trying to break away from past notions. Like, people always say that our generation of parents were a lot more aggressive than how we're trying to be parents. I would say that's one reason, because, like, I'm not gonna go on anybody else's parenting, obviously, but it's like, it does seem like we are a little lackadaisical when it comes to discipline compared to our old generation. And it's like, yes, we have resources to, like, better relate to the kids and better understand them and whatnot. But at the end of the day, they're your kid, not your, brother.
Right.
But that's a whole other tangent. I feel like it's that. As I said with the Reddit moderators, it's a lot of people who didn't have power in their life suddenly being thrust with a shit ton of power. You mean I can tell anybody anywhere to shut up right now because I don't agree with them?
Right.
I need them.
And there's a physical component to that too, because, like, I can tell anybody, and I physically don't have to get hurt. Like, exactly. I don't have to take the repercussions. I could turn off this TV and I don't have to hear nothing from you at all. And especially to the people that don't know, like, that don't say that in real life. Like, I can understand the people that are, like, radically aggressive and they don't know how to, like, to understand.
Right.
But
someone in the chat said people be trying to be friends with their kids. And yeah, that's another thing that's been a problem too. That's been, like, the number one problem.
Yes.
It's like, I can understand, like, I feel like it's one thing between, relating to your kids, understanding what they're like, their interests, their dislikes, and then really trying to be their friend. Like, you can't, not saying you can't talk to them as equals, because at the end of the day, you want to mold them into a fine person and make sure they're ready for the real world.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, there are times when you can't just be like, yeah, bro, like, just all casual and cool. You got to be like, yeah, I'm your pops. Like, you got to talk about this.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be that line of separation somewhere, and I feel like a lot of people, don't want to do that for various reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say that's because, like, you were saying that you were going on a tangent, but if we're gonna continue with this,
okay,
then it has to be, and I think this does play into the sensitivity issue that we were hitting on a little bit earlier with the fact that individuals either on one side or the other. I think it has to do with the parents, with how they raised us. But I think we have to look at the situation in times of era. We had the era of the Great Depression. Then we had, if I remember correctly, World War II.
True.
World War II took out a mass majority of individuals. Like, we're talking about a mass majority of individuals, which means that people that did have parents no longer have this person in their life, which means that single parent households were popping up, probably more frequently during that situation across the world, because it wasn't just America, but across the world. Then after that, we had leading up to it, the civil rights movement. Then we had, segregation, all that stuff, all wrapped up, around the same or back to back, if not, to come up to the crack epidemic, which pretty much dismantled a lot of African American families. So it's kind of like, well, of course there's a lot of people were a little bit aggressive. Like, of course. What? We have to do this by ourselves on a mass majority?
I think now
some of our parents have went to to jail because of certain situations, and we have to feel this way, or we have to live this way. We have to grow up by ourselves, or we have to grow up because we've taken by another family, or grow up with a single mom, or so forth. So it's kind of like, this is like, it's not that you're set up for failure, but you're so set up backwards that you got to get a couple steps to the starting line. And depending on your mental atmosphere and who's raising you and what they're instilling in you, that's either harder or slightly less difficult for you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's layers on layers on layers of setbacks. Not to say that that's an excuse, but it does you have to factor that in. Like, how much do we give leeway to the individuals that have, and communities that have had these setbacks? All right, well, we can look at it from the situation in which.
Okay. I got two things. Someone said you gotta remember it was easier for women to get home without a man in the household to be
what was it?
He said you gotta remember it was easier for women to get a home if a man wasn't in the household in the household. Okay.
How was that? How's that?
Because he's saying the years that you're saying with
the
like
years that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
okay. All right. Yeah.
And then he also said, I know people who live with their parents their whole life, but their pops had to dip.
Yeah.
When those people came around. Okay.
So yeah, it goes to show, like, this is not an excuse. Like, don't let this ever be. No one can use this as an excuse. You can use this as a reason. You can say that this is the reason. But if you continue to live with the excuse saying that this is what it's always going to be like, you're only setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
And you really need to set yourself up for success and be like, you know what? I am back. How far am I back? Like, what do I don't know and what do I do know? And if I don't know a lot, how do I start building up the steps to knowing what I need to know? And the first step is just accepting that you're ignorant and accepting that you need to learn. And then once you accept that you need to learn, go learn about something you don't know. Yo, bro, I had to do this technician move. I have no idea what that is. I might as well learn about it. And you learn about being a technician. You go to school.
To keep it on the topic, as we were talking about it, I was thinking of a quote. Let me know what y'all think of it.
Right.
I forgot which way it starts, but it pretty much can loop around in the fact that it was hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. And weak men create hard times.
I like that. That does make freaking sense. Well, kind of. It does make sense if you think of it like on like the
I
larger
I hear
scope that
you.
it's explaining.
The way I'm looking at it, exactly. It's like I know they didn't just use a pump jack. Oh my fucking god. Anyway, I look at it as yes. It's like compare that to our parents' generation. Not saying our generation is weak, but it's like exactly what Trey was saying a little earlier. We do complain about a lot of shit that really wouldn't be complained about. You know, and
Yeah.
on one hand, great, because facts, some of these things need to be talked about. You know, we need to know that mental health is a real thing. You know, we need to address that, especially as you said earlier, with black culture and black families. It's like it's not discussed as much as it should be. I agree with you. However, other things, it's like, you know, like your children's not your friend. Bottom line.
Right.
You know, it's like it's not insensitive that you don't look at your child like a friend. It's just the fact of the matter. Because at the end of the day, you have an obligation to be their parent, not their first friend. You know, you can show them what, you know, good kinship looks like and affection and whatnot to create a stable environment for them. But there's no need to go beyond that.
Yeah.
You know, as for the quote, it's like, yes, because like just like you said, they went through the most, still going through the most, you know, and then what are we going through by comparison? I mean, yes, we're going through the epidemic. It's crazy out here. It sucks. But beyond that, you know, nothing was really life or death for us. You know, it was always there. Everything was set up. You know, there wasn't really any struggle to give us the backbone to go do some shit. You know, and
hold on. Wait, hold on. Hold on.
He was about to go crazy.
He was about to go in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the but I definitely do feel because people now who are having kids also are really really young. You have people who are like in their 18s, 16s already having kids, and then also on top of that also trying to be a kid and then also being a parent at the same time, trying to be an adult. It's pretty hard on top of that. So then yeah, you know you're trying to balance everything out, and then you got your kid. And then it's like, and then you don't like the fact that like certain people are pointing out, hey, if you didn't make this mistake here, or such as having a kid that young, you didn't like how they will put it in the way of, hey, you're gonna have a tough time doing these things. Like people may have a problem with you pointing that out to them, like, hey, listen, if you wasn't 16 and pregnant, you would probably be in college, graduating, all this stuff, and they probably won't like to hear that. They wouldn't.
I do agree with you. I can't really say much on that point because it's like, yeah, you know, I have a penis. You know, again, I can't say much on the woman's body. But in terms of like letting your kid know what it is, hell, I think that's vital. Like, I think that's seriously vital because if you sugarcoat it, the only thing that's going to happen is your kid is going to go out and experience the real world. It's going to backhand them. You know, it's like this is nothing like how you made it out to seem. You know, like, and my greatest example would be like parents that keep their kids, you know, underneath them. You know, always on them, always watchful over them, always, you know, picking what they.
There's a term for that. Authoritarian parent. The parent that never lets you do anything, has strict parental control on you, and doesn't give you any free time whatsoever.
Right, the ones that want to dictate your life to make sure you don't see the ugly parts of the world. And it's like, I understand because it's like facts. That's something you created. Of course, you want to cherish it. You're gonna want to hide it away from the bad shit.
Yeah,
but that's just the reality of the world. There's good shit and there's awful shit. And unfortunately, your child, as well as everybody else on this world, as well as everybody else on this world, is going to experience that. You know, and it's like you can't prevent them from ever seeing that. You know, no matter what you do. You know, and I feel like they're trying way too hard to do that, and we're starting to see like consequences of that effect. You know.
And it sucks. It sucks that sometimes that's the thing. Like you know, telling your kid how everything is. Like, you know, like let's just say for example, let's just say you're a single father, And letting your kid know, like, hey, listen, like I can't be that sensitive, and then also I can't be your mother and your father at the same time. Like I can't give you sensitivity sometimes, and then I'm giving you like toughness. Like that's all I know how to be is be tough. I've never been sensitive in my life. I don't know how to do that. Like and that's pretty hard to do.
And that would be one argument for me saying that's a good reason why we're starting to unravel some of these shits that we've been dealing with for years. It's like facts. Let's say I was put in a single father position and I have a daughter, right? Of course, on the surface, it's like, oh my fucking god, I don't relate to you at all. I don't understand, bro. You're gonna be a woman. Oh, niggas, like
I don't know how to control myself. I don't know how to do this.
But then it's also like you still have to just be able to do the most that you can. You know, exactly like what you just said. I'm not going to tell her I'm both parents because I can't. I'm just your father. But I'm not going to prevent you from seeing a female in your life that has a good moral compass and can help you show you what it is like to be a woman. I can tell you a bunch of shit. Be like, yeah, guys ain't shit. Like they only want one thing. I can tell you this, but I feel like you need to have another person there that can help not only just explain it to you, but literally show you by the example.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't agree with. Like just straight like that, and it's like it's not to come at anybody specifically, it's just a lot of I'm the parent. That's it. Like my kid can't see nobody, they can't have any other influences but me. And it's like you're literally shelling them out from the rest of the world at a young age. Right. And like you expect them to be some like outgoing person, want to talk to people. No, they're still gonna be the same sheltered kid underneath you as they were back then. And obviously I know, everybody's not for everybody. It's like, there are bad people out here that you don't want to put your kid next to. So like if we're talking family members, close friends, relatives or some shit, like bro, go let that baby see him. Like, bro, like it's all right. Like it's all right to let your kid experience a different opinion.
Yeah,
experience more of the world. Because it's gonna happen regardless. Right. So that when it does happen, you're less shocked. That's what I feel like is really going on. Everybody's like, yeah, my parenting is this, and it's the perfect way. And obviously no way is the perfect way, but like at least be open to some, not even criticism, but just a different opinion.
Yeah. Being like if I'm telling you, hey, you're being a bad parent, let me give you the examples on what I'm saying to you. Don't take it as, he's disrespecting me in that line. No, I'm just telling you, hey, maybe you can do X, Y, and Z better. So that he can be ready for this.
Right, but then even looking into the example we just showed, it's like facts. Even on the parents end, it's like I'll go back to my example of me having a daughter. Let's say I was still dealing with the emotional issues that I was dealing with. I don't know how to, be soft around her. I'm always putting up a wall. I'm like, yeah, military dad. It's like I need to be proactive and learn how to at least give her some sense of balance, Whereas, like, if we have a mother that's always being tough on her son, it's like, yes, you can do that, but that's literally all he's going to know, because he didn't see the sensitive side. He doesn't know how it is to, like, actually let the guard down and be like, all right, I'm safe here. I'm comfortable here. Like, it's not a threat. You know what I mean? And it's like, it does start with the parents because, like, literally your kid doesn't know anything else. All he knows is that you're the one who gave birth to them and you're feeding them every day.
Right. So there's like I 100% understand what y'all saying, and I agree with y'all. Like 99% of the way. I think there's a balance that has to be had, but if you're an authoritarian like type of parent, like you don't allow any type of creativity, any type of like freedom to meet other people, like that only hurts the child so much more. Like, yeah, you can be hard on them, you can be aggressive on them, but then once you like y'all were like leaning to, and so and so said, you have these children that are locked away for so long that when they come out into the world, it's not that the world slaps them in the face. They're so awkward that they are kicked out by society itself. The social circles that everyone has kicks them into being the outcast. And the only place for an outcast to do is to take it out on other people or to self-delete. Either one of those is extremely bad. So it's kind of like, that you step outside, life hits you in the face, you end up running back inside because life is so hard, and your parent, the person that was supposed to ready you for society, failed in doing that so much that you can't even do it no more.
Well, I would say I would say that's not necessarily. I wouldn't say that they will be in that, like, they will be kicked out of like certain groups, but then you can look at it from high school.
I would say they would be afraid to try.
From a high school area, certain kids were, you had kids who are your super social, like, kids that can socialize with other people, and you had the kids that were the outcasts. But the outcasts always hung out with the outcast kids. They always hung out with each other. That was their similarities. Their similarities was always the same. Not
in the same way as what I'm saying. Like, what I'm saying is society. My way is society outcast. So it's kind of like saying, the outcasts, while they are different, the commonalities that make them connect is the fact that, one, they're outcasts, and two, to some degree, they might have commonalities with games. They might have commonalities with stuff that they do. The problem with the people that are so sheltered is that they don't know what other people are. They don't know how to interact on the most basic level. It's so scary for them.
But
I would say Trey, to an extent, exactly. And this is where it goes into unique. After they leave high school, hit them hard. Yeah, so, like real life. Okay. I really see that like half of these friends were only my friends because we were in school.
Yeah,
I don't know how to interact with others. I don't know how to make a new friend. Just as an example, it's like I don't know how to do that. So I just retreat back to where I do know in my comfortable zone. And never go outside of that. And it's a recipe for disaster because, like, fact, at that point, you're of age to where you need to figure this out on your own time, but most people won't, because it already seems like such a hurdle because from birth up until young adulthood up to high school, they only had this little box to be in. They don't know how to get out of it or like look around and see that there's more to everything, So I definitely say it comes to a head after school. Because, like, obviously there's many ways that you could go about finding new people. You can go to the gym, you can go out running, you can join a club, you could do this. But since it's also around the time where everybody from school starts realizing their interest. It's we're into games, but you're more into games than I am. Or you're more into actually developing a game, and I'm just here to play and enjoy the experience. So there's naturally, divergence there and spreading apart of friendships and whatnot.
Right.
So now people are more going into social cliques that revolve around their job or their future career set. And then for the people that never really had anything to expand their arsenal, let's say like, the clubs, the activities growing up, it's going to be hard for them to look at things and be like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. This is the activity that I want to do. This is the extracurriculars. This is the friend group I'm going to revolve around. It's like it's like dead ass throwing somebody at a Dark Souls game and they've never played. So, it's like, yo, go ahead, go beat the game right now. I'll be back for you later.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's
what
crazy. That's wild.
Because there was a kid in high school that was like that. There was a kid named when I was in high school. There was a kid named Sean. And the kid Sean used to say, like, I used to bully him and everything. Never talked to the dude a day of my life. Never talked to the dude a day of my life. But the problem was that he couldn't pick up on anything social. Like he couldn't tell when people were making fun of him and making let's just say, for example, let's say I make a joke. Right. He wouldn't know the difference between you laughing at the joke or you laughing at him. He wouldn't know certain things like that. And I think and like there were real kids that was in my class that was really, really bullying the dude. like really, really making him do certain things so that they can get the entertainment out of it. Bullying. And he was one of those dudes who couldn't talk. He couldn't really hold a conversation. So it's like I can see like where in like a real life when he got out of high school, definitely a dude who couldn't talk. Probably can't really pick up on certain things. It was one of those situations where he definitely was a kid who was under certain things like that. Like he couldn't do much. He was it was really, really bad for him. Like he had people tell him to do like there was a time where somebody told him to come up they had him come up to me and slap me in my head and slap me in my face.
Okay.
Like I would have slapped you in the face too. I mean, like, if I never knew anything, I definitely would have.
It was like my friend Sal. It was just like his birthday, and like the kid Sean was like, "Oh, what do you want for your birthday?" He goes, "Well, I want you to slap Trayvon in the face." Oh. And he like legit walks out the class. He's walking down the stairs with me, and he tries to slap me. And I looked at him, and I remember I grabbed his hand and I told him, and I said, "Yo, listen, if you do that, just know it's going to be a bad situation for you. So I advise you not to do it. So I'm giving you this firm warning." And he wasn't picking it up. Like he kept on trying it. And I'm telling him, like, I'm forewarning you, like, hey, listen, like this, because he was a kid who had seizures and everything. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to punch you and something like that happens. Like, I don't want that on my name. I don't want that. So it was like, he was a kid that just didn't. He was a kid who was an outcast, and people definitely didn't. People were making fun of him and doing a lot of things to him that was like unnecessary. And I definitely remember that in high school. It was like a real bad situation, like with him. Real bad.
I can see it. It can be like, yeah, you know. I would argue that's another thing too. It's kind of like in their formative years, such as in school and whatnot, a lot of bullying was the cause to push them away from wanting to be accepted. You know, like that's we're all getting kumbaya and shit in this bitch. Yeah, it happened. You know, it wasn't like a bullying, but it was like I was skating, right?
Oh.
And the big problem with my group of skaters was that we always treated shit like a competition. It was like, yo, either I'm better than you or I'm not. You know, we weren't out there to have fun type shit. And it was fucking disgustingly whack. Because outside of that, there's no real bond. You know, there's nothing holding me here besides the fact that I gotta be better than you. And it's like, type of shit is this? You know what I mean? So it was like, when I walked away from it, it was like, yo, what the fuck do I do now? You know, I mean, obviously I can still skate, but now I had that stigma that any group that I was gonna skate with was like that. You know, because growing up, that was a lot of the shit that I had heard. And it was like, yo, I'm seeing all these groups on fucking YouTube and whatnot, going out, traveling to the cities and shit, making whole team videos. And we're over here fucking busting each other's nuts because you ain't land a trick. And it was like, yo, you know, I ain't trying to deal with this shit. You know, and it was like, when I got out of that, when I got older, when I hit 20, it was like, all right, you know, we go make some new friends. How?
Yeah. It's definitely if you don't know how to make friends, it's definitely hard to make friends. It's very, very hard sometimes.
Like, and then it's like, yo, you realize that some of your earlier life friends were there because of proximity. You know, now you got to really find someone who you can fuck with on a Saturday just because you fuck with them. You know what I mean? That's the difference. And even though it's not a hurdle for people who didn't have to experience that as much, it seems like it's a mountaintop to climb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Majority of the time, you usually find your friends. You know, it's a great place where you find friends sometimes too. Sometimes your job. Sometimes your job.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes
job friends be dumb funny. Oh my god.
Because a job is the only place in the world really where you can be 20 years old and your best friend can be a 40-year-old dude. It's like that's the only way it works sometimes. Sometimes it will be an older dude that you see every day where it's just like the assigning moment. Like you're like, yo, how you doing, George? And George always tells you, he tells you everything. He's 40 years old. He tells you everything about the world at 40. He may give you the advice that you need to hear when you was younger.
Facts, yeah, they do serve as good mentor figures. Bro.
So it's like a job is a great place to meet friends. If anybody has a real hard time, meeting people, go to your local library, go to your local library, go to your local Starbucks, make friends there.
go to college,
It's true, but
go
it's
to
like,
social circles, especially college if you're like a study book person.
Let's take your friend Sean, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know his home life or anything, but if I would use somebody like Sean as an example, it would be like, okay, what if he didn't have a good social environment growing up? Like you said, he doesn't know how to tell social cues apart.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the reason for that may be extremely deep rooted.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, let's go to that Starbucks, bro. Let's go to this bar. Let's go talk to some girls, bro. You can be his wingman till the day he dies. But because he wasn't able to learn that, and didn't do anything to like change it in his later years, it would still be a problem. It would still be hard for him to come up and do this because he wants to, rather than because somebody else is egging him on to do it. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, go ahead, bro.
You can even say something that like you have something in common with somebody, like oh he has a Dragon Ball, oh he has something like on with like anime or something like that. You could just start the conversation like that. Sometimes it is like that, but that is strongly in the social cues thing because you would just pick something up faster than other people.
But that's rare. Like even though that's possible, that's rare. Like you're not gonna go up to some. Well, it's different around the world. But in New York City, you really don't go up to somebody and be like, "Yo, that's as a compliment," and then you just keep on going. You don't just stand there and have a whole conversation. You say something, keep it going.
I feel like those are the outgoing people. Obviously, I don't know their lives either.
Yeah.
I feel like they at least had an environment to where they can speak and express themselves more than the person who is more shelled up. Let's say like we have three people on the train. One of them has a Dragon Ball shirt. All three of them are fans. Person number one, he's just staring at it for the entire train ride. Doesn't say a word to him. Gets off the train. Person number two, he comes up, he sees the shirt. Yo, bro, that shirt looks fire. Where'd you get that? I fuck with the anime too, bro. Gohan's my guy. And then they have a whole conversation off of that.
OD.
And it's like it's just more natural for person number two because he was never, well, not saying he was never, but to a less extent he had to control what he said. He couldn't speak his mind or speak freely as person one did. So now that we're out in the great big world, it's like either you do it or you don't. Like your mom isn't gonna be behind you to say, yo, you like Dragon Ball, bro, why don't you talk to him?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it is too, because it's like that's kind of why I say it's deep rooted, because it's a real, I don't want to say problem because there's nothing wrong with being introverted. It's just it's something. Yeah, I could just say
it's just really really tough. But
yeah,
also,
it's tough to break out.
Also, we can get into our next topic. If anybody wants to do our next, if anybody wants to introduce what our next topic is, you can go ahead and do it. And the floor is one of you guys'. So,
I'll be honest. We kind of blew over we kind of went on a long tangent from the original concept. I think the issue that we were referring to earlier with the sensitivity was about the Dave Chappelle situation and comedians nowadays getting attacked or stopped online. Like the situation with T.I. T.I. went up and is just a newfound comedian. He just started getting into
He's not funny.
comedy after he found his fame in rap. And so as he gets on, he hasn't done the same rite of passage as the comedians. The real stand-up comedians that really had to go through like, yo, you know, as a comedian to comedian, you know, you don't step up on my set. You don't question me. You don't heckle me. You know, you let me do my thing. You take your notes. Be like, yo, that was good. That was not good. How am I gonna flip this into my own story? And you know, anybody like a true practitioner of anything, you don't step up on somebody else's plate unless it's the respectable thing to do across that niche, you know, that area of expertise. But you know, Ti went up and you know, this lady, this woman, was doing her set. You know, she was killing it, but she made fun of Ti. You know, was cracking jokes on the dude. Because of the fact that he had a 40-minute intro or a 40-minute thing. He was like the main dude, like the main comedian for the night, the main act for the night, and he paid for it apparently, or he just came in and was like, "Yo, I'm Ti, I'm just gonna take it," rather than, you know, being known for being that comedy guy,
for being the comedian that you were supposed to be,
right?
Like it's like he went up for the job application and was like, I don't have any requirements for the job application, but I just want the job.
Right. That's like Barack Obama trying to go up for a comedy special with Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, all of them, and he takes the 40 minutes.
Yeah.
He takes them all. That makes no sense. Like, you're not that dude. You know, great president, but this is not your realm.
So his set was 40 minutes. That's probably
his set was 40 minutes. But the thing was, and the problem, which, you know, he got a little backlash on it, a good deal of backlash, was he stepped up on another comedian's set and was like, "Yo, you can't speak this stuff. You can't speak. Don't speak about me." And went up there, took the microphone from her, and was like, "Yo, you're not getting this back." And like, people were like, "Yo, like, what are you doing? Like, this is a comedy. You can't take a joke about you. You can't handle this. What's going on?" And you know, a lot of comedians, you know, a good deal of comedians started throwing some words at him. So it was kind of like, damn.
Because comedian to comedian, we can both joke on each other. We both can.
Yeah.
This is our thing is to make people laugh.
Right.
So we're supposed to make everybody in the room laugh, even if it means you yourself, even if you're.
My thing too is like we're acting like from 2003 to about 2016, there wasn't a Comedy Central roast of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody, bro. Every single night, I'm seeing somebody new get roasted.
Yeah.
And they had them sit in that seat.
Chair.
And there was about
just sit in the chair and just laugh.
Facts.
It was like, oh, I'm getting slammed up, but I'm taking it. You know?
Facts.
So it's like, yo, I look at that, and then I look at now, and it's like exactly what happened. I low-key feel like it goes into what I was saying earlier about the harsh censorship. It's like people only want to hear what they agree with. You only want to hear what they want to hear. And I feel like I can expand that to other topics we talked about before, such as the Will situation. He only hears what she wanted to hear that time, you know? Because, like, ever since that situation happened, people took their sides. And then there was a clip that blew up of her saying that she doesn't care what people say about her head. Yet in the moment, she clearly cared about what was said about you know, her lack of hair.
Yeah.
And it was like, regardless of if you cared or not, you know that the comedian, not even just the comedian, it's like, I'm pretty sure her and fucking Chris Rock know each other. You know, they knew each other for years. And it's like, bro, you know he's not saying this with ill intention.
Yeah.
You know, it's a comedian. Exactly. They're supposed to make people laugh.
Yeah.
You know?
His job to have everybody. If there's thousands of people in the building, his job is to at least get a percentage of those thousands of people to laugh. Maybe specifically not you're gonna laugh at the joke, but if he gets 90% of the people in the room to laugh, it's a joke that
it's a success. Of course, you can take it as a success. But that situation in particular is a little bit more sad than the T.I. T.I. was just.
Blatantly. But he's also known not as a comedian. He also got booed on stage because he sucks as a comedian because his comedian style. First off, want me to be honest with you, for a comedian, you gotta at least be something like funny, like you gotta have something funny about you. where you have like the Jamie Foxxes of the world, you have the Eddie Murphys of the world. They look like they're funny. They look like they will have something funny to say to you, rather than like a Ti is going to hit you with wow, amazingly words probably in his act of his comedian act. Right. He's going to hit you with big words and stuff like you probably not going to understand, and you're going to be like, whoa, that just went over my head. Where as a comedian, you should take that advice like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should have never did that 40 minute set. Maybe I should have did it 30. Maybe I should have did it 20.
Maybe I should have got like a 5-minute set. Let me get my jokes out, see how the crowd reacts. You know, and then when you get the guy that was supposed to get the 40-minute set, when he goes up and people start laughing at his jokes, you can write down like, yo, what did he do? Like you do it like every other comedian has done it. Write down your lessons, write down your notes, understand the craft, and then you'll automatically get there over time. Like it's eventually you're gonna get there. It's not that you're gonna be. Say too,
the common link between comedians. I can't say this with 100% accuracy because I'm not a comedian, but what I've seen in their documentaries and when they talk about their lives, they were subject to bullying, and the way they mitigated it was by telling jokes to deflect what was said at them.
They were more than likely the class clown of the school of the class.
Exactly.
Because they was either getting bullied, they was either the kid that was always failing, and that was their way of getting away from being that kid. Like you would never notice. Like every classroom has a class clown in it. Every classroom does. Everybody knows the kids who are the funny kids, you know, in any way of that area. Mm-hmm. But you can't get mad at somebody being like saying like I'm saying a joke to you and I'm saying it like towards you. It's not to be offensive or any of that in that realm. I'm just saying, hey, listen, you should never did a 40 minute set.
Of course.
That's all I'm saying.
Right. I get you. I was gonna have a counter argument until you said he had talked over another person's set. I was gonna say if he paid for his time, then give him the time. But if he was also slotted for somebody else, he should have had the respect at least to move.
Or even if you paid for that set, truthfully, when it's my set, it's my turn.
And that's it.
The problem with the heinous thing was that he got on the stage and was like trying to censor her. Like, yo, bro, you don't get to censor somebody else that's telling a joke. You don't get to do that.
No, because
you're the butt of the joke, weird. But you know how to. Yeah, but you, as a comedian, when you use somebody as a joke, that's your time to let loose the jokes. Mm-hmm. So she's letting loose the jokes on you. You got to be like, yo, that's either funny or I didn't really like that. It wasn't a really good joke. And then you have to let her speak. Because I could go up there and be like, yo, I'm not gonna let you speak. I don't like the fact that you talked about me.
And another thing you can also say is, what if would you have that same energy if a male would have made that same joke?
Right.
It's also that because there's also that because if let's say Jamie Foxx walked on stage and he's like, hey, T.I. just did a 40-minute set. I don't understand why that nigga did that. He says it just like that.
That shit is wild terrible. Take that shit off.
Like for 40 minutes, are you going to laugh or are you going to run up on stage and then say the same thing to him?
Right.
It's her time. Hey, listen, T.I. just did a 40-minute set. I know, guys. I know that was a boring 40 minutes. Like
that was mad trash.
Like that's what the joke would have been, and you can't get mad about that. And also when you're getting booed on stage, it doesn't help.
No, it does not. No, it does not. Let them know.
Doesn't help. So you're getting mad at yourself about your 40 minutes set not being great.
Right.
That's not my problem.
But
speaking of comedians, that's a good segue. It's definitely time. You got to discuss it. My boys been wilding.
Yeah,
doing a little too much.
The first guy.
Kanye, put it on the table.
First guy is Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson has been wilding lately. Pete Davidson recently has gotten a tattoo of Kanye's kids and all of Kanye's kids on his neck, like their initials on his neck. So
Oh, I did not see that segue coming in. I thought we were gonna talk about Dave Chappelle and his tackle game.
Oh yeah. You know what?
Yeah, I was saying. I was thinking about that.
We
I
could
was
do
like,
both. We could do
we could do both.
We could do both. All right. So let's start with Dave.
Let's start with the Dave. Yeah.
Let's start with Dave
because that shit was
Dave,
wild.
Wow, that was a loud scream.
I'm sorry, it was, but I don't care. It was wild.
Dave's thing is.
Give him the energy, bro.
Okay, so Dave's thing is the story of Dave. Dave made one joke about the trans community. Made one joke in his Netflix special, and everybody had an uproar about it. So a lot of people were saying that he should be canceled. Mm-hmm. Netflix should have canceled the deal. They did all this stuff. But previously, before he made that joke, he has been mentoring a trans woman into comedy. Right. And he was telling her how he like, all these things that he's been helping her with and everything. And she even laughs at the trans jokes. Mm-hmm. So you have a community. You also have a community that is very, very. When we just talked about people being sensitive in this day and age, you also have a community that is very, very sensitive about their prideness of them being them. Which not every person in the community is like that, but the more powerful people are, more hey, we're more powerful. We're gonna make sure that you're not gonna have these jokes. We're not gonna have these things at all with you. Right. And speaking up until last night, where Dave Chappelle does his set, a guy runs up on stage, a trans a trans man? Not mistaken?
No, it was not a trans man. As far as we understand, it's not a trans man. It was, I forgot the man's name. Wow. But it was not a trans man. He wasn't politically left or right. He wasn't against anything. Nothing like that. So this man either he's mentally ill, or he did it because of a dare for some clout. He's a rapper. We now know that. That's about it.
He also had a fake gun on him. He had a knife. He had a real knife.
No. He didn't have a fake gun. It was a real gun.
It was a real gun?
From what I know, it's a real gun, and he had a real knife.
I heard it was a fake knife. I heard it was a fake gun, but he had a real knife.
Yeah, real knife. Okay, then we can go with the fake knife. I don't know. But real knife, tackle Dave Chappelle. He could have took that knife out. It would have been a whole different story. Dave Chappelle probably wouldn't have lasted for very long.
Shout out to Busta Rhymes and shout out to Jamie Foxx for beating the bricks off of that man.
Facts. I'm sorry. You ain't gonna jump on that and just
because that right there is the worst thing you could do. Yeah. Don't run up on stage and then think you're about to get away with something where there's people that are protecting these people at all times. You're lucky enough there wasn't bodybuilding bodyguards with him. You would have probably died that night. They would have probably beat the living.
No, they were. There were bodyguards there. That's why they were in the back. They were in the back beating the bricks. They were washing this kid up. Yo, they said get the rag and throw this man. Throw it out.
Because his arm was broken. His arm was definitely broken.
His face, it was. But that's what you get. Like, you can be a rapper, you can do this stuff, but you gotta be smart about how you do this stuff.
Yeah, please.
Either gotta be doing it for a reason. Yo, check out my music, or something.
I would never
run up there and just tackle the dude. I'm just like, yo, what is going on?
And you ran on stage and tackled him, and you you had the potential of you pulling out this knife and stabbing him was probably. Listen, you do that in any shape or form, especially to Dave. Dave is the greatest comedian of all time.
Yeah, Dave is a great comedian.
Well,
actually.
I mean, I'd say he's the greatest comedian of this time. Let's just.
I say all time. I think he's better than Richard. I think he's better than Richard Pryor.
No, I just have to say Richard Pryor.
I think he's definitely better than
statement. That's a big statement.
Dave is insanely good. Insanely good. Like,
hold on, can you re-say that real quick? I need to really hear this.
Dave is better than Richard Pryor.
I have no idea how to handle that statement.
Have you watched a Dave Chappelle special?
I haven't watched a Dave Chappelle special.
And did you laugh from the start to end?
well, I wouldn't say from start to end, but there was some pretty good ones where I was like, yo, damn, that's funny. That's
Like,
real funny.
okay.
So I mean, I get it, but like, nah. Like, I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, Dave is a funny person, in the situation in which he definitely did get tackled is something that I want to say is horrendous. But a couple of comedians were saying this. They were saying, like, after the Chris Rock Will Smith situation, this is gonna happen more and more. Like, this is just this. These people are gonna go up there and think like they can do certain things. It's just a start.
Right.
Dave Chappelle's situation, evidence to show that, at least another situation not very long after Chris Rock and Will Smith happened, it's happening. So it's kind of like, yo, what's the problem?
Did you also know that happened to DC Young Fly?
No, I didn't. Oh, no, you're right, because he punched the dude in the face. He beat the bricks off him.
He punched the dude in the face that ran up on stage on him.
Yep. Well, I don't, support aggression, but I mean, come on.
Please,
let's be honest with
people
this.
of the world, do not run up on stage on a comedian.
Please do not. Please
because
do not.
you don't know how these people are. These people are making jokes to make you laugh, and you don't know what they do on their regular day basis. Right. They may pull something out that you never seen before.
Facts. They might be a boxer on the low key and then give you a 2-piece, chicken McNuggets.
And it's
a
over.
Quarter fry and throw you in the shake, bro.
And it's over. So please,
throw you in a blender.
Please do not sit here.
Yo, Crownless over there eating a sandwich. He about to these boxes about to wrap you up. So don't be running up on these stands, bro. So
no, I'm in agreement.
Yo,
dude, so it's like
crazy world right now.
It's right. It's just like please don't try, people. Don't try. I understand. Yeah, we live in the era of being viral, of doing any of these things. Don't walk up to a comedian with the camera on and you try to do these things, and you never know. You never know what can happen. You may die that night just because you wanted to go viral that night.
Yeah. So, in all honesty, for the people that listen, don't be dumb. Don't be dumb. Be smart. Enjoy the joke. If you don't like the joke, walk out. Take a breather and come back in. If you need to take a breather, it's fine. Like, you're not gonna miss anything crazy. Cool. But you will be ruining things for everyone else. So try and remove the spitefulness from your heart.
And Chris Rock had the greatest joke of all time after that happened.
OD. Well, I mean, I would say he had the greatest joke of all time. He definitely.
It was a great joke. After that happened, he said, "Who was that? Must have been. Was that Will Smith?"
He said, "Was that Will Smith?"
And it was right at the right time.
Right, fast. But like, I'm gonna be honest, that was just terrible.
But don't be stupid.
Right.
Stop being the people who want to go viral, go in front of these people. You don't do that. And also, if you get offended by jokes, why are you going to a comedic show? Why are you doing that? If you already get offended off of one word already by somebody typing online, don't go to a comedian show. Don't do it. Because you're probably going to ruin somebody's night, or the person who is sitting next to you may slap you. You never know.
Look, let's head on to the next segue that you did mention earlier.
Peter?
Pete did, yeah. Let it loose. Kanye West. Sadness.
Sadness.
The fall of a great man.
I'm not calling him Pete anymore. Peter is really, really weird.
Pete? He said Peter.
Peter's a weird guy.
I need you to get down here, Peter.
Peter's a very, very weird guy.
Peter Parker.
Oh. Especially after Kim K went to SNL. It was really, really weird. Pete Davidson automatically just starts dating her. It's wild weird. Also, for him to get Kanye's kids' initials all on his neck is the weirdest thing in the world.
That's where it gets weird. Because
I ask people who have kids and who have kids of their own, and I will bring it up to them like, hey, would you allow a man getting your kids' initials tattooed on them? No.
Yes. What?
Like people are saying no, because it's weird. It's like it's weird. Like I understand, yeah, you're playing step pops, but you're not playing step pops because I'm in my kid's life.
No, no, but you are playing step pops. Like if you're not able to like direct them in a first of all, to just begin
I
this whole thing in this whole situation.
like
If you are a father, you have to step up being a father. I'm sorry. If you don't like the person, if you think that they are incredibly toxic, hello, cat. If they're incredibly toxic, or so on and so forth, or they're domestically abusing you, you know, any crime. If they're doing a crime, of course, leave that marriage immediately. It's better to leave that marriage because you don't want either you or your kids dying. You know, leave that marriage, show proof, get your kids out of a dangerous household.
That's like that.
But
That's
if
like
it's
if Russ.
not, you stay in that. You have to stay in that relationship because you're
That's
gonna show the child a reality of relationships that they're gonna internalize in either a positive or a extremely negative, you know, spiraling way, which is something you really don't want to do. So there's a sacrifice when it comes to children.
you want me to be 100%,
And,
and I'm gonna let you go, Groundless. I'm gonna let you go.
Take it
I
out,
see,
take
I
it
see
out.
you. But me being 100%, that's like if Russell Wilson decided to get Future's kid's name tatted on him.
Right.
When he takes care of Future's kid, he definitely does. But like he's not doing that. Like he's gonna take care of him, you know, teach him all these things because Future's not his real dad is not in his life.
Right.
But you're not gonna sit here and get a whole tattoo of my kids' names on you when I'm in their life. Like Kanye is in his kid's life. Definitely, he definitely is. Definitely looks like the dad who he definitely looks like he's in his kid's life. So it's like me and her going through a divorce. You get my kids tatted on you, which is kind of weird. That's where the weirdness comes into play. It's like weird.
No.
I agree with you pretty much. It's like that's where it got weird for me, and for pretty much the points that you put on. I'm gonna just put it in like a nicer way. Exactly. You can be stepfather of the year, but that just crossed a whole nother boundary of being disrespectful. On top of the fact that you're doing this, from what it seems like, in spite of our fucking disagreements and arguments, it feels like you're just trying to take this situation between us to another level where it shouldn't have gone. You know, and it's like, okay, let's say we're both still alive, right? Let's say, you know, none of us kicked the bucket, thank God, but we split, you know, my kids are with her.
Right.
As long as my kids are taken care of, I couldn't care less. It's just like, yo, you moved on. I gotta be an adult, be a man, move on, but I'm gonna still be there for my children. Facts. Now, if I'm there and you're there, you know what? There's gotta be no argument. Because at the end of the day, I'm here for my child. I'm not here for you. I'm not here for her. You know? So that's one thing. And that's why it's like, for you to dead ass get a tattoo of my kid's name on your neck, I'm gonna strangle you.
I'm gonna show you where the tattoo is lied. You're getting
on top of us having this beef, having this argument, having whatever the fuck we got.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, really? Like, you pushed it to that level?
Yeah.
You're not even just my enemy now. You're a real life my nemesis. You know, and I feel like he's doing it not even just for the clout, but to be in that funny way, like, yo, look at Kanye's nemesis, you know, no. That's really wild, bro.
And I'm going through mental problems. I'm going through mental problems already. I'm troubled because, like, in Kanye's sense, I'm going through a lot of troubleness. My mom died. I can't really cope. I have a hard way of coping with my mom dying. And I have mental problems. Going through a lot of mental issues. And then you're adding on to something that like could trigger me into doing something I don't want to do to you. Like you're hitting that point. Like you did it already with you on SNL. You kiss my wife, then you date my wife, then you're running around being kind of weird in a way, and then now you got my kids tatted on your neck. Now I don't know what to do now. You don't know what I can do now. I live next door to you, really, so you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know.
Well, I mean, look, listen. This situation is a little bit special. I'm gonna say that the situation could be handled better on Kanye's part because his responses is crazy. The fact that you made a music video about decapitating this man's head off, that's wild. First of all,
yeah, I didn't know that.
That's wild.
Yeah. That was one of the first. That was like the first.
I think I did see that actually. Yeah.
That was a song off that was off of Easy, if I'm not mistaken, right? That was
Easy.
Right.
And my man's
way before this happened.
Wild. So Kanye West is already on that weird streak. He also has a view about politics, about the world, society, and stuff like that. It's like, like come on, like I don't want to see that. I don't want to. Not that it's not true. If it is true, then I have to see it because I have to be in reality. But it's kind of like, yo, bro, you throwing stones into a puddle like only yay high. Like, where are you going? Like, why are you doing this?
I feel like this translates well to an earlier topic we were talking about with the parents and their kids.
Yeah,
it's like that's my point right there in person. It's like, yes, on one hand, yes, Kanye, you're the father. I get that you love your kids. But if you're that mentally unwell as a father or just as a parent in general, you should go take care of yourself so that you have the capacity to go back and take care of your children, instead of doing what you're doing with Pete and letting the problem escalate. As for everything else, the most I would say is just move. And it's specifics too, because I'm not gonna say Kim and them are no saints. For example, with the whole Northwest being on Instagram and like what 7 years. Fact, get my fucking child off of the internet. Like that's it.
Yeah. Because the internet.
As you already see, there is plenty of fucking pedophiles.
Yeah.
Like not even just to say it in a joking way, it's just that's dead ass the case. I do not want these niggas seeing my kids like that.
Don't use your kids as a way to gain clout and to gain some type of currency or use them to monetize yourself because that's terrible.
And also,
all these YouTube families that do that shit, excuse my language, terrible. Like, get your children, get your family off the freaking air. Stop doing that. Let them have fun. Let them be kids. Because you're putting them through a situation. There was one family. I forgot what the family was. They adopted a child that had some type of mental illness. Like, severe mental illness. And then, when it started getting hard, they sent the child back. But they made money off of the kid because they kept on showing him without his permission.
That wasn't Daddy 05, but I remember that shit.
I guess I don't remember because I don't. As soon as I see that stuff, I don't even watch it. I walk away because that shit is terrible.
There was another YouTube family that was kind of like that. There was a YouTube family where they was like abusing like one of the kids. And they was doing it on video. It was like abusing not necessarily.
Yeah, that's their channel.
That situation where it was like where like the little boy was the one that was getting like it was always the little boy. He was getting abused all the time. Like the older brother.
He had his brothers push him around.
Yeah. He was getting abused a lot. But what I would say is you have to like as people, as parents, as anything, you have to like understand like sometimes you can't have your kids at 6 years old know how to work everything already.
Right.
They know how to work a phone before they even know the ABCs. That's not great.
I mean, I had this conversation before, and it's inevitable. Like technology advancements, we're going to be learning stuff faster. So of course the child is going to learn technology a lot faster because it's more accessible. It's right in your hands, and it allows them to make mistakes and also learn from the mistakes repeatedly.
Just them learning the technology, it's what they're seeing on the technology.
and you're throwing it
For
in their
example,
faces.
a
And you're throwing
6-year-old
the
kid
technology in
just
their face.
getting, let's say a 6-year-old kid on X video. Like you just wouldn't want your 6-year-old kid to see porn at 6 years old.
Yeah.
Like that's just the
No.
bottom line.
Right.
Right? But because of how easily accessible everything is to them, you wouldn't even know if they had the ability to do it or not.
Yeah.
You know, they can go clear their browser history like nothing. You know, or whatever.
And
You know?
also and
And then on top of that, they're very impulsive. There's a lot of pitfalls and traps that they fall into due to their age and lack of brain development. So it's like, yes, they're going to explore things, but they don't even have the moral compass to say, okay, this shit is fucking disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me not look at it. They're just going to keep it, and it's going to fuck them up. You know, and obviously we can't watch over them, hawk over them 24/7 to make sure everything they do on the internet is safe.
Right.
But we don't need to be like, yeah, you know, here's my 5-year-old daughter, y'all. You know, give her an Instagram account. Yeah, no.
No. And also
5-year-old man in her inbox.
And also
what are we doing here?
You want me to be honest too? Also, you don't have to raise them on technology. You do not. You don't have to, like,
you do.
No, you don't. No, you do not. No, you don't.
Do. Yes,
no, you don't.
Do.
Because
yes, you do. You do because
no. Listen, can you let me
speak? I'm gonna let you speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I actually go?
Yeah, of course.
No. So what I mean by that is you can't just throw an iPad in front of their face and be like, oh, this is what's going to teach you everything. You show them everything on YouTube. You don't have to do that. You do not have to throw that in front of them at all times. You can make them grow up like how we grew up as kids, where it was literally, this is what you're getting. You're getting action figures and stuff like that. And that's all you're getting.
That's what I would still say no, because the more we're growing up, the more these years are going by, the more technology is just becoming integrated in everyday life. It's like, let's say, for example, yes, I have my kid. I'm giving him all the action figures, the Lego toys, the Roblox shit, all of it. He goes to his friend's house, and all he sees is technology, computers. Bro, like, that's all they're going to see. Because that's all a majority of the kids have in their households already. You know?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, when you come home, this is all you have.
Mm-hmm.
And everywhere else, you know, it's just computer this. iPad screen.
I wouldn't.
It's like you living in the universe of hard. It's like you living in the universe of freaking Tron with all these motorcycles and crap, and you got this one kid living in Kansas with a shack and farm material. Like, bro, like I got lightning things going on the floor. Like,
how do you think Amish people living right now? Amish people don't use no internet, and they're raised perfectly fine.
Wait, hold on.
True,
No. But once they get out to society, it's a whole different situation.
Am I specifically going to live out like that? No, but
why not? If you want your kid
what I'm saying is I can have my kid kind of raised like that. That's what I'm saying. And that boat where eventually like where I'm going to integrate technology to them. It's not at the age of 5. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to integrate it.
No,
in a sense.
No. I don't think.
Hold on. You need to some degree because you have society. This is why I keep on saying this. You have society moving in a certain rhythm forward.
Here's a perfect example. Kids as young as 4 have school on Zoom.
Right.
You're not gonna not have your kid go to school.
That's only because of COVID. That was only because of COVID.
Right, but now you know that that's gonna be a more long-term thing than we thought. Right. And then even before COVID, you're 5, 6 years old in school. There are computers in school. Right. They give them kids iPads. Even if you don't do it, they're gonna see it one way or another sooner than you think. Okay. Because it's so much around in our everyday environment. The only thing you can do to make sure that doesn't happen is by keeping them in the house.
Or keeping them in a community that doesn't
like an Amish community.
But what you're doing is you're taking that child and you're putting them in a closed community while they do have the essentials of the community, friendship, society, learning how to properly like put yourself in social conversations. You
that's not
have a
necessarily
problem
true.
when they go but you have a problem when they go outside of the community, outside of the open world, because they're going to be introduced to a lot of things, and if they're old enough, it might be harder for them to be open to these situations. So technology would essentially be harder.
So can I ask you that question?
Of course.
Go ahead.
When was the first time you got a phone as a kid?
But you shouldn't use
No.
though.
Listen.
At 10. But
Okay,
see, that wasn't...
At 8.
Wait, but even before that, I was 4 years old knowing how to work a computer.
Right.
I didn't know how to work a computer at 4 years old.
I did.
My dad
I used to play pinball machine on a freaking old ass computer.
I can understand. I knew how to work my game. I didn't have no cell phone. I didn't have nothing like that.
But game is technology. Like, I mean, game is
No,
also
I
technology.
agree with you, but that's also a difference in the times. It's like, that's just like with our parents. They can't look at our time as the same as when they grew up, only because of the difference in technology, the difference in accessibility and availability. You know, like getting a phone right now is so much easier than getting a phone back then. There's so many family plans to get everybody involved from jump. You know, on top of that, as I'm saying, it's like, bro, it can be as simple as, hey, you know, I want to go hang out at my boy Jimmy's house. And Jimmy got the freshest PS6, the P7, the new Xbox, bro, and he's there. Let's say you let him stay there for the weekend.
Yeah, okay.
That's 48 unsupervised hours of just internet. And you know
yeah. But what I'm saying to you, truthfully, I don't want my kids to know how to work a phone OD quick.
Okay.
Because it's the same thing like you said, where you can't supervise them. You can't do all that stuff that you can do normally. Because I'm gonna bring up another situation, because now you got to look at it from the what happened with Kim Kardashian, where her son was on Roblox, and he runs up to her and he says, mommy, look, and on the Roblox thing, it said Kim K's new sex tape, and lucky enough he couldn't read.
But like, this is the thing. Like,
you see what I mean?
But you have.
It's a little different. It is a little different,
but the same thing would, let's say it happened at his friend's house. Nothing would change. He still has the access to Roblox.
Yeah. But
like, he's just on the computer playing the game, bro. And that's what I mean when I say it's very accessible for them to see things that they shouldn't. He would go to Roblox and he saw that.
It's too easy.
So, like, now imagine just googling up the letter S. Like, you feel me?
Yeah. It's way too.
It's gonna be hard. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it is gonna be hard, especially because it's like, as Unique said, technology evolves at such a rapid pace. We don't even know what type of technology they'll have when our kids are around. You know, they could have some shit where they just beaming fucking advertisements into their skull. You know? I mean, obviously we're probably not gonna advance that fast.
But
you'd be surprised, bro. Yo, I went to the hospital not too long ago, and my man's had plastic tape with nano wire in it. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I'm looking at like, yo, this thing looks like a Lego blocks like slip. Like, this is wild. So I'm already at the point where, like, yo, we're already moving to the point where, like, we're stepping into sci-fi territory. You know, we already have one of the first. It's expensive as all can be. It's pretty much priceless. But we have, like, one of the first holographic technology. It's not like the one we know when it comes to the movies, but it is holographic. You can interface with it in midair. So it's kind of like, yo, this is crazy. Like, we're already on that point. Right. And like technology, like each step that technology takes, it speeds up. So, you know, it's just gonna keep going. Once we get to that point, it's gonna get faster and faster and faster.
The only safe way, truthfully, you can have your kid on the internet is if you're able. Well, you are able to secure. You can put everything on safe mode. Everything can be on safe mode where they never learn about the real YouTube. They never really learn. You never give them access to like real social medias and stuff like that. You make them. That's like the only thing you can do is lock things on their phone and their devices. That's the only thing you can go with. But just like
Mhm.
you said, Gary, where he can go to a person's house and just on the TV, hey, you want to watch this? Look, it's
Hey,
them
yo,
girls
look
kissing.
out of my dad's drawer.
Like
yeah, like that.
he could just pull something out of his drawer and be like, look, I got the new Playboy. Like,
I got the new
Playboy.
like you never know.
Is that even still a thing, bro? Playboy.
Yeah, you never know.
I feel like all the 80s
Yo, bro, I seen this model. Just
you never know. He can just have it on his phone. He can have it. He can
Go ahead.
because you can find these things like this. It's dumb easy to find these things. It is. You can watch anything in the world.
Can I ask you a question? Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Continue.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Bro.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Like...
Go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead and ask your question. The new Playboy, but that's the thing though. It's really hard to supervise over your kids on the internet because people can say anything. First off, I got TikTok. TikTok is a weird place to be on. It's very weird. It's very weird. It gets to a situation where it gets weird.
So you're right about the fact that it is hard to supervise them, but that's where authoritarian parents do. The parents that put you on lockdown every 95, and 100% of the time. They don't let you go out. They don't let you do anything, so on and so forth. You can be an authoritative parent. You can be, my fault. You can be.
No, it's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Kind of a joke. I'm gonna save it.
You can be the parent that says like, yo, there is structure, but I'm going to teach you how to be a certain way. But if you ask me and everything is doing good and you're doing good, all the rules are being followed, or I want to go chill out with Jimmy. Okay, all right, go be home by 8 o'clock. Make sure you have all your stuff. You give them freedom, and they're more likely to be like, yo, I'm going to listen to you more. But Jimmy, you got to catch them if they try and test you.
But listen to that. But what if Jimmy comes home? What if you go to Jimmy's house? Jimmy's like, yeah, I just ordered this new porno. I just ordered it. So we're gonna sit here and watch it together. So then that's
then you give him the appropriate punishment. Whatever you think the appropriate punishment is when your child brings that up to you. My appropriate punishment is probably gonna be a conversation, and if they're young enough, I'd probably react mad weird, and I'll probably like, I'll tell them like, don't ever watch that again.
You want to know?
Trust me, don't do it. And if they come back in and say the same thing after going to Jimmy's house again, I'm just gonna slap them in the butt because I told you not to do it. Like, I mean, don't test the response from me. I'll listen to you, but
listen. Here's my punishment. My punishment. My kid is holding. You remember those open court books that we used to have as kids?
Just like
them big giant reading books. It was these big giant reading books we had as kids.
Hold your hand in the air, just.
No. He's gonna stand in the corner and hold them. He's gonna hold 3 of them, and he's just gonna stand in the corner. And if he drops one, I add a book each time.
Nah, see, that's torture. That's a little bit.
That's not torture. That's
torture. That's the more Western version of putting dry rice on the floor and putting your knees on it. That's the more advanced version of that. Like, I mean, less advanced version of that. Like, that is torture.
That's not torture.
I feel like with kids, I feel like we've come to a age in society where we understand not how kids function, but why they act is how they do. Right? On top of that, we're understanding that, not even just understanding, but we're at the age where we can use our personal experiences as reference. It's like, okay, think back to when you were a kid. How well did those physical punishments actually work? Or did it just make you resent your parents for having it? You know,
It worked. It did work. Scientifically, like psychologically, the evidence does support the fact that physical abuse does help. But physical abuse helps if it's responded with an appropriate answer. You can't just hit the child and expect the child to
you
learn.
might want to
But you need to be able to use it as, like, this is why I say appropriate responses for appropriate let's go with appropriate consequences for appropriate
measures.
Measures, or some, let's say responses to these things.
I wouldn't. For me, for example, like you want me to be honest? I'm gonna tell everybody in chat what happened to me as a kid. There was a few times where I got my ass whooped, where it was called upon, where like there was a time where I was like 16, where I disrespected my mom. My mom threw a slipper at me. I remember this. My mom threw a slipper at me, and I remember I told her, don't throw anything at me, right? I remember walking in my room, and I remember I closed it. I remember my dad came in my room, and he goes, "Oh, what'd you say to your mother?" Me at the time.
No answer.
No answer.
No answer.
No answer means no answer means can mean two different things. No answer could mean you're being disrespectful. Like, why are you not answering me? Because I'm asking you a question. And okay, since now you're disrespecting your mother, now come up and stand up. Facts. Now my dad says, "Yo, get up." I stand up, and he punches me in my chest. And at that moment, I couldn't breathe.
I understand.
I couldn't breathe, but it was called upon. You mess up in school. You're continuously keep on getting into fights. You continuously keep on not listening to your teacher. You're cursing at your teacher. It calls upon it. Calls upon that type of, like, you can do so much of putting your kid on timeout that it doesn't work anymore. Like, he can
to skirt back into focus. I'm sorry. It is called upon, but did you learn from it?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Of course.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
also than just feel like, yeah, you know what, she's being a bitch. You know.
No.
I was truthfully. You want me to be honest? Truthfully, right after that, I didn't disrespect my mother for dumb long after that, and I still don't.
So, I was about to answer, like, so for dumb long. So when did you start going back to disrespecting your own mom? Because I'm confused. Did you learn the lesson or not?
It was a lesson learned to not disrespect your parents at all.
Yeah. My whole thing too is, like, I agree with Steve. I'm sorry to keep cutting you all off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're definitely in podcast now.
We're definitely in podcast mode. It's over.
Pretty much, yeah, I would agree with you, Nick. It depends on the level of severity. Yeah. But pretty much, I feel like already having that natural role as a dad, all you really need to do is just chest out, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that clearly wasn't called for. I don't need to degrade them and be like, yo, you little fucking shit. You're so fucking shit. I fucking that's what I'm talking about. That's only making these kids hate parents.
But that's the excessive. That's just that. Like you said, it's degrading. You don't need to go that far.
That can be mixed into you getting hit, because sometimes as black parents, sometimes you're going to tell your kid, like, what are you doing? That was the stupidest thing I ever seen you do. Why did you just do that? Like
you gotta choose your words carefully.
Can pop a bubble, and I would say that is probably why a lot of black kids our age don't really speak to our parents.
Yeah,
and it's like
because as kids sometimes as kids you don't see it. Sometimes you keep on seeing yourself, like, you're like, yo, why am I keep on getting hit? Like, why am I keep on getting hit? What am I doing wrong? Sometimes the kids, some people don't pick up that.
But see, some kids understand. Some kids know that they're fucking badasses, and they do need to get hit sometimes. I agree.
Yeah.
It's just the excessiveness. You feel me? I feel like the excessiveness can be mitigated with actually explaining to your kid why what they did was, dumb.
Yeah, like,
and not even just saying, it was dumb because you're fucking stupid. It's like, it was dumb because if that led to something else, you could have got really hurt.
So like it also comes to, like, the responses and everything. I think one of the few things that comes to individuals that really don't like spending a lot of time with the parent, even though the parent might be a really cool person, it comes to like, and I speak to a little bit of my own situation. It's the response doesn't match the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the excessiveness of the response can show either that there's landmines around you as an individual, and so I should not come to you at all, because if I say something, I don't know which one's the landmine. I don't know where I'm going to step, and you're just going to explode. So there's no reason for me to come near you. I'm just going to build a wall around you, and I'm going to be like, yo, this is your box. I'm going to be worrisome when I enter the box if I ever need to come to the box. But you can, that creates a lot of doubt in a child too, and that also creates a lot of distrust between individuals. Like, if for any situation, if you just hit your child because your child didn't listen to you correctly, or you start getting wild aggressive to the child that didn't listen to you correctly, then you're fostering a sense of doubt in the child, because the child doesn't know if they're doing well at anything, because they're always doubting the fact that everything they did before, they couldn't connect to a single situation in which it's linear. Like, well, I hit the nail the wrong way and I could have hurt the other person. So a reprimand is positive in that situation. Don't mess up. I feel
like that's coupled with them trying to have such an overbearing presence. It's like, yes, you should distinguish yourself as the parent and not their friend. But to be so overbearing and not even allow them to express themselves plants seeds, and they only really sprout when they're old enough to actually get away from you. Yeah. Now it's like, you can't stop me. You don't have that overbearing presence as you once did. Like, we don't have that middle ground that we could have had as you step back a little bit. And then, in some cases, unfortunately, they ended up leaving it to the now adult child to rectify. They have to come back and be like, yeah, you know what, Ma, our situation wasn't the best. I matured, I did some soul searching, I'm here for you. Right. And it's that's great. That's great. It would be nice to have it a little sooner for some people. Right.
So be able to actually doing that.
Or what else would you know what else happens too? It's like sometimes when your parents played a good cop, bad cop sometimes, and sometimes they both being the bad cop at the same time, it doesn't really help.
It doesn't.
It doesn't really help. Where both parents are kind of being more aggressive all the time with you, 100%. Like even when you're doing well, sometimes you don't even know when you're doing well. Like you come home with a great progress report, right? You come home with the best progress report you ever came home with. They're like, yo,
good job, Jimmy.
Yeah. They love me. Yeah, right. But they will point out the failure, the flaw of everything else. Like, they will be like, oh, but you don't even do this, and this.
Or they'll say like you're doing something, and success. Like, if you get success, if the disrespect, so maybe not the disrespect, but if the reprimand doesn't match the appreciation and the applaud that you do for success, then you're fostering more focus in the child of their failures rather than their success. Like, appraisement and being applauded and given recognition from your parents is the greatest source of motivation to children, because that's all they want is to hear their parents say, you did very well, I'm very proud of you, you did so great, you did it, you got it, let's go, keep it going, I know I can believe in you. If you continue to lay that on to an individual, a child, even an adult, teenager, doesn't matter. If you're positive with that person is more likely to foster positive thoughts and positive motivations to continue onward. Right. So rather just saying like, oh yeah, you did good, Jimmy, but this one you really did. Like, you gotta stop being stupid. Like, damn, like, I'm stupid. Like, they'll focus on that one word, and that's the problem with, I think, what parents used to do. I think parents now are starting to realize, well, you got to be positive. I just think that parents now are taking that way too far over to the right side. They were on the left side. Now they're going too far.
Much. Yeah. It's too much positive. It's too much positivity, and there's no repercussions of me doing a negative rather than it's nothing but positivity every time.
Right.
Like you can't shelter your kid with so much positivity that that he doesn't know when he's doing something bad. You're telling him, "Oh, good job, Jimmy," but I can't be negative with them, because people are being more sensitive. People are being more, hey, when I was growing up.
Yo, you can't tell him that was just good. You got to tell him that was fucking fantastic.
Like there's no balance of people checking their kids. There's no like right now. You can go to the supermarket right now. You will see a family where the kid is so bad, he's running around the whole supermarket, going crazy, throwing stuff on the floor, and guess what the parents would do? Look at him.
Nothing. Right.
Yeah, just sit there.
Like I'd pop you and give you a spanking because you're not gonna act crazy however you want in society. Yeah. That's not how that works. Because if you do that and you're older and you're an adult and you do that, it's not a spanking. The police is gonna come get you and you just gonna be in jail. That's the step up. That's the adult level of what you're doing. So I'm gonna prevent that from happening so that doesn't happen. Like as a parent, it's your responsibility. Like Crownless said, and you said, Trey. You have to be the parent. You have to be the respect. In this situation, you gotta respect me. You can't.
That not just in the respect, they should be more of a guiding force.
Yeah,
right.
It's like, you can teach them what happens if they fuck up.
Yeah. You can.
I don't also show them the steps to just avoid it naturally.
Right.
Like, all right, here the cops are gonna get you if you fuck around, But here's what they're like normally. Just as an example.
Yeah, you can show them examples of things. You can put them. You can show them like let's say you're in an area of you're in an area where it's nothing but like negative, and you can show them, hey, listen, this is what happens if you do these things, and as you go down this path, this can happen, this can happen, this can happen, a number of things. Right. But most people are not being more is guidance and also like a mentor. People are not trying to be mentors anymore. People are trying to be friends. People are trying to be their key with their kids rather than teaching them other things than them being like along the line of letting their kid act like how they want to act. I don't really care if your kid is the baddest kid in the world.
Right.
Show them why not to be the baddest kid in the world. Show them these things.
So I feel I don't know. I seem to have a biased situation in this a biased opinion on this topic, personally with my own history with how in hindsight, when I look at things, I don't like the way they are now that I have a little bit more knowledge on different types of teaching styles and the effect that, what the effect is, And so I'm like looking at myself, I'm like, I can't blame it on psychological studies on an entire situation. I can't say 100% because of psychology explains the reason why I'm like this. It's also part of me.
It's also your personality.
Right. It's part of my personality. So but at the same time, this personality grew from the situations of me growing as an individual. From child to teenager to adult, how people, treated me. Like personally, like I didn't have a lot of confidence growing up. Mm-hmm. I wasn't bullied, but it was more or less in a situation like because I was such an upbeat person, people took me lightly. Like one of the freaking staff members at my high school, when I was about to graduate, grabbed me and picked me and pushed me into like the wall. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, yo, who the... Like, I started to get aggressive because obviously if you're 17 years old, like hormones are starting to react and you about to just start uppercutting grown men. It wasn't like I was going to win the fight, but you're not going to just put me into the wall and expect me to just like...
Take that.
I'm going to get aggressive. You know, but then one of the staff members came up and was like, yo, dude, don't do that. Like, he helped me out. And that was a really cool dude because, I looked up to him a lot, yeah, like, stuff like that happened a lot, with, adults doing certain things to, like, children, teenagers, and they think that it's okay, but that stuff haunts them. It never haunted me, but it does bother me that individuals, especially, like, adults, quote unquote, were acting aggressive to, like, young teenagers, people that they could actually positively influence. They can get these kids to stop acting this way if they were to look at it and be like, yo, I understand, try and relate to them. Which is why I'm trying to be a teacher. I'm trying to be that person in that school.
Some kids it's too late for.
No.
You want me to be honest? Nah. I'm gonna be 100. I'm going to be 100% for you. There are some kids where it's too late. Where if they didn't get it throughout their whole life, like their whole teenage years, and sometimes some of those kids, it'd be too late. Especially in this generation of kids. These generation of kids, sometimes it's a little different. Because teenagers now, a lot different when we was teenagers. When we was teenagers, it was like, yeah, you could tell who those bad kids are. You can easily. Now it's like everybody's being the bad kid. Everybody wants to be the bad kid. Everybody wants to be known as that bad kid. And they're like popularized. You're popularized for being that kid.
Okay. Let me hit it from the base point. The whole thing with the idea that like some individuals and some kids aren't worthy of. I'm sorry. I didn't say. Or maybe not worthy, but they're too. It's too late to help them. I call that kind of a cop out because that if it's too late to help them, then it's too late to do anything. If you make a mistake in the past, regardless of what you do, I can't believe you. That's the same rhetoric that comes from cancel culture. Oh no. Yeah, like you do something in the past, you type something, you can't change. I'm just gonna blast you. This is you as you were back then, no matter what you say. But you can eventually change with interactions with individuals. That's how we see people that are criminals try to do their best not to be criminals. And some people do have success stories, while others don't. It's usually either an individual, in most cases, it's an individual that comes in and helps them, or plus on top of their own motivations. Their own saying, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to continue to live this way. I want to be better. I'm gonna tell you why it's too late. Sometimes. I call it, cockamamie bullshit.
Sometimes. Go ahead, Carlos. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, OD Trey. I know.
Because I was about to go. I was go crazy.
There are extremes. If I see a 16-year-old, I'll give you prime example. Right? I was a guidance counselor for the YMCA for 3 years. Right? Okay. It was something. Thank you. It was fun. It was cool. Interactive. On my last year, I worked with the older kids. I was around 17, and they were 12 to 13. So the age is very close. Now, skip ahead a few years. I'm now 22. I see some of these kids in the street, strapped, drug dealing, and my first thought was, yo, I fucking failed that kid. Like, exactly as you're saying, I could have been a positive influence. Sometimes it ain't enough.
Yeah, bro. Sometimes.
I'm not saying it's 100%.
Sometimes necessarily. Sometimes kids, you can be that guidance all you want, You can try your best. You can try. You can be 100%. You can walk into like let's just say for example, let's just say unique. Let's just say you do become that teacher, right? You walk into the class.
No, well, I will become that teacher.
No,
if I will become that teacher.
You get your first school you go to. They're like, oh, you're gonna be teaching middle school kids, right? You're gonna be teaching 6th all the way to 8th grade kids.
Okay.
Now let me tell you something about middle school kids from when we were growing up. You and I, when we was middle school kids, we already knew what it was when certain kids got disrespectful. Now today, it's a very, very different world, unique, where kids are gonna be 100% on you. They're gonna be more like you make one subtle mistake, anything along that line, are you trying to be that good teacher? Yo, teacher, you want me to be honest? Yo, SMD. Yo, teacher. Yo, you
That's truth.
You want me to be honest? Yo, teacher, we can dead fight you. Yo, teacher, we can do all these things. Kids are very, very disrespectful. Kids are coming to school high.
That's true, but all right, so
Are you gonna try to be that mentor and it's not gonna work, bro? Not all the time.
No. See, that's the problem. No, that's the disagreement that I have. You're like, the people that are doing this, you doing this is not gonna work. I don't agree with that. I agree with the idea that you cannot be 100% with every kid. You can't save every kid. I'm not naive to believe that I can save every individual if they come to my class. I'm not an all-powerful, omnipotent entity. I can't do that. That's impossible for me as a human. But what I can do is that I can eventually add to the cumulative effort of individuals like me, and we can start to affect society because it's only going to multiply. It's the same thing with abusive parents. The proof is in society. If abuse was hereditary, if it just passed down generations because the father was bad, so the son will be bad, and then the grandson will be bad because that son did bad to the grandson. That's not the case. That's not how that worked. Because if that was the case, eventually in a couple generations, everyone would have been abusive. But it's not. So the proof is in the pudding. So it's to say that society, the more positive things we do for the individuals that are having trouble in their life, the more positive or the more possibility it is that they will become better individuals, that they will change. So, I don't know the percentage. I can't give a percentage if it's like 6 out of 10 that you'll change somebody. Depends on how charismatic you are. But I would say that eventually, it starts to outweigh the amount that you failed. Because you're not doing it alone.
But kids, let me ask you this: if kids don't want to listen to their parents, what do you think kids are going to be able to listen to you for?
Because
if they're not listening to their own adults in their own life, what makes you think you're going to be the one that's going to be the voice that's going to be heard?
Because what makes you, let's say this: what if you were abused by your parents and I was super kind to you? What makes you like me more than your parents? It's the fact that I'm different from your neglectful parents. I'm the person that gives you the light when they give you all but darkness. You can tell the difference because of how it feels to be in that situation. It depends on how fast I get to you before you start to develop that, dark perspective that I have to be aggressive towards you. That's just my defense mechanism. Or I get to you and my effect on you is positive. Because that's what mentors are. Mentors are to help guide you in the best situation. It doesn't always happen because it can be the severity. It can be the amount of time you've been with your parents. But if you change the atmosphere of where that child is a massive situation change. I'm not going to lie. If my situation was any different, even by a smidge, I could have ended up terrible. I was already on a point where I wasn't going to graduate high school because I didn't really care, you know. But like I had individuals, especially my teacher, who gave me a goal to achieve that I needed to graduate high school for, and I ended up doing it. So it's like it depends on a load of factors, but the teacher is arguably the third parent in the relationship. They're the person that the child sees almost nearly as much as the parents themselves.
Yeah. Could you see them 5 days a week?
Right. So I would say
Maybe
that
even
yeah,
six,
like
maybe six.
I would say
because
the
people had
proof is
Saturday
in the
school
pudding.
also.
But
I
yeah,
would say it's a little hard if you were a middle or high school teacher, only because of the lack of time you have to see all them kids. You only have 45 to an hour tops for each class. And it's like, yeah, you can get some of them, you can snag some of them.
right.
A time constraint, and then trying to get to everybody on top of reaching the curriculum, and then, digging deep within their personal, seeing what's going on. But
They ain't near difficult.
But the only way
reason behind mentors. And it's also like facts, mentors aren't just for little kids, people older than receive a mentor.
Yeah.
Just go throughout life, they're, struggling to find their way. And then throughout work or throughout college or whatever, they're into, they find a mentor then in the early to middle 20s. But
or you want me to be 100% honest too also is that let's just say for example, let's say you do special ed education, right? Where let's just say you only got 10 kids in a room. Let's just say you only reach 4 of them rather than the 10. Let's say the other 6 are just the kids that don't want to listen and so forth. And you can tell that it's just like too late for them. You can tell it, bro. You can see it.
No.
It's a thing, bro. I was in special ed my whole life, and I know kids that would literally, you can see it like it was just too late. It was gone. Like even the teachers were trying their best.
I'd be against it. I wouldn't really. I'm
hard.
gonna be honest. It's not
very hard.
It's not hard, but it's just all right. It's hard in the situation that you've seen them in, because at special ed school, I'm gonna be honest. I've been in special ed high school and in middle school. I've actually never been in an actual ordinary high school or any ordinary education setting except college, and that's the far from the ordinary childhood experience you should have. So, it's kind of like there's not enough time for these teachers to help out these children. There's not. It's not. Some of these schools, a majority of these private schools that have these special education for the special needs children aren't that much different from public school. There's not a lot of attention. There's not a lot of specificity to the learning process and the learning plan. So you can't actually get to them to teach them how they need to be taught and influence them the best way you could influence them. It's pretty much regular high school, except it's just a lesser in difficulty in obstacles and in assignments. That's all it is.
I never went to a special ed like school. I've never went to something like that. I was in regular school with special education. School with special education.
Right.
All right. Upon thinking about it, I do see what Stray's saying. I'm gonna give you a prime example. Let's say you're a 12th grade math teacher, and the kid you're trying to talk to, the coach, the mentor, is a gang member. Not only are you competing with whatever struggles the kid may have at home, but also the massive amount of influence the streets have had on him. Because, you don't know how long he's been out there. Right. There are kids, sometimes as young as 10.
Yeah.
Murder. Committing murder, selling drugs, robbing, all that. And they have years of this, unfortunate experience that they had to go through, and you got to unravel that and get them to try to switch back to, not model citizen, but back on the other path. I'm not saying it's impossible. Facts, I agree with you there. I don't think it's impossible.
But it's a hard fight to fight.
Right, it's gonna be a real uphill battle. That's unfortunately what I had to experience. Because I wanted to go back and talk to some kids. oh, like, what do you mean you're trying to something? What the fuck? Like,
Because kids would hit you on the. I'm telling you, I've been in these classrooms. I've seen these kids. I talk to these niggas, bro. You want to bring up a great example? Great example was in middle school. I had a kid named Jonathan, right? Kid Jonathan was the worst kid in the class. Worst kid in the class. You know what happens? He came to class one time. I've never seen a kid get sent home faster than anybody than anyone in this world. He came into the classroom sagging his pants. Teacher told him immediately, "Yo, pull up your pants." You know what he told the teacher? "Suck my balls through my drawers." And immediately he went home in 5 seconds. I've never seen somebody go home in 5 seconds like that. He was already home by the time I called him. But
right.
But day to day he would do things. Day to day it was just he's doing these things. You can try and try. You can tell him. You can sit him down with the guidance counselor. You could tell the guidance counselor to talk to him every day. You could tell him everything. But guess what? You know what happened to that kid? When you want to know what happened? He ended up becoming a crackhead.
Right.
He ended up becoming that.
But
it's hard.
But that isn't the problem. But that's a problem for the education system itself. The education system itself is not assigned to deal with individuals on a personal level. It's only built to deal with 26 kids in a classroom. You can't do it like that. Even with teachers' assistants, you can't focus on every kid, which I understand. That's where you guys are coming from. Like, you can't get to every kid. You can't do
every kid.
But that is like saying, you know.
See, what would you do in the extreme cases, like with the gang members?
Teach them something. In my opinion, there's a possible strategy of teaching them in line with what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, if they're selling so and so forth, you know, I gotta flip this, I gotta flip that to the 10, you know, pass that on and so on and so forth. I'm not gonna hold you because I don't live that life. But you know, you can give them, you know, math. You can say like, all right, so let's take the scenario. Boom, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. You know, also in stocks, you can introduce them to something that technically is around the same. You gotta flip this to make more money. You can give them a chance to be like, yo, this is a career you can take. Rather than I'm saying you could go with the ocean. You could go with the wave. You could go with the wave.
I got you right now.
You could go with the wave and then steer it just a little bit off the course, and eventually it will hopefully hit land.
What he's saying basically is, I'm gonna tell. Let's just say, for example, let's say the kid name is Tyler. So you're gonna tell Tyler. You're gonna tell Tyler, yo, listen. If I got 3.5 grams, how do I get it off? That's how you're gonna relate to them. You're gonna relate to them in the way of being it. You're gonna use street things for them and for their entitlement. Like, yo, bro, he know about that. Yo, word. I can see you probably getting away with, like, you know,
once or twice.
Kind of like relating to them and being like, yo, yeah, you're the cool teacher. You can use that. It's hard because when they leave that school, they're gonna go right back to that. They don't get to call you. They don't say, yo, unique. Yo, what's the word? They don't do that.
That ain't the case. That isn't the case.
No. What I'm saying is that they're once they leave that classroom, they go right back to that real life. They go back to the life. They don't go. Your classroom is the only
safe zone. It's Switzerland, pretty much.
Yeah.
For the time being.
But once Switzerland's over at 9:05, I'm right back. I'm right back outside.
Right. I mean, then that comes into the idea of how much you decide to influence them by, and how much they're willing to be influenced. If you relate and be like, yo, you can introduce this to, you know, some of your people, so on and so forth. You know, that there's freaking stocks, which is pretty much the same as flipping anything. You just have to look at what you think is worthy. How are you going to get people to do this for you? And how are you going to get these numbers the way you need to get these numbers? I'm going to be honest, and this is for the people. if you are in the streets and you know how to do this, if you went into freaking stocks, obviously there's a little bit more stuff that you need to learn, the technical stuff. But the general concept is still the same. You're taking something, you're weighing the risk, you're taking money out of this to put money into this so that it flips into something more. But you're assuming you're taking risk. Essentially, you would have a lot more people getting out the hood than a lot of people would expect. That's how crazy it would be.
But you gotta remember, a lot of kids don't want to do a lot of that boring. Like if you're gonna be that boring teacher, I'm telling you, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be real hard.
I'm not gonna hold you. It is gonna be hard. But I personally think it's a worthy goal and it's noble.
So I advise you when you're a teacher, don't teach middle to high school kids.
That's actually where I wanted to teach. I wanted to teach high school.
Oh man, I'm telling you now, it's going to get. Mr. Boyd.
My English teacher told me that same thing. Actually, it's funny that you say that, because I had like not even just similar views, but in how my personality was towards children. It was like, yo, I feel like I can help them, I can set them on the path. She was like, yo, do not ever teach high school kids. You're too.
Yeah, because high school kids is the most. High school kids and middle school kids are like the kids. You're in the mix of learning. You're learning. You already got to a point where you're kind of comfortable, but you're still a kid. You still got that kid mindset. But you can people are more disrespectful now. When I was in high school,
did you just say I got the kid mindset? Did you just disrespect me, nigga? What? What did I just hear from this man? Hold on, I must be bugging here. Am I bugging? Hold on. My mic might be off. Wait, hold on, man. Alright, I don't know what happened, but yeah, my mic is over.
You can try 100% because in Emerson, the majority of the kids in Emerson were either gang members. You had gang members in schools. You had kids that was selling drugs. You had kids doing anything that they wanted in school. Kids were not going. Bro, there was times we wasn't even going to class. We was going down the hill to go get food. You had stuff like that. People do not. You're going to go to school, and you're going to be a teacher in that middle school to high school realm. It's very, very difficult because kids today are very, very disrespectful. That's
fine. Like, look, listen.
It's not fine. It's not fine. It's not fine up until a point where you can't take it anymore.
Look, listen. I'm human, so I can't expect myself to be impervious to like insults and disrespect on a daily basis, which is why I understand why teachers
you're gonna get it every day.
At certain points, get like so upset that they start cursing at like children. I can't.
Go ahead.
We had a situation where a kid came up and beat the principal with a textbook.
Yes.
Yeah.
With a binder, really was a binder.
And mind you, for context, this is the end of the year. The end of her senior year. 3 years to work on this person. And that was the end result.
Right. This is why, because I got introduced to a documentary about the worst high school in the country. The worst high school. It was flipped to a much better high school. While there still were fights, individuals and kids did change from a situation of being homeless, being aggressive, fighting every day, cursing every day, getting kicked out every class. Exactly the same situations that y'all just explained. They got flipped. And they actually became better. And one of them actually became one of the head of the high schools. So it does, like, the effects of it do show. But it comes from, one, depending on what the teachers and how they are when it comes to the children. Like,
Can I ask you a question?
How much? Yeah, what's up?
Did they end up changing the name to high school?
Did they end up changing the name to high school?
Yes.
I don't know. I think they might have, but that was probably after they did the whole thing.
That's exactly what happened with us, where it was Emerson Middle School, right? And it got changed right after that. It was called Crosshill Academy, where it was like changing the reputation of what the school was. It was one of the baddest high schools. I'm high schools. I keep on saying high school. Baddest middle schools in the world. Well, I'm not gonna say in the world. In Yonkers, but it was really, really bad. It was like you had the principal get beat up. You had numbers like people. Literally every day there was a fight. It was either you're gonna fight in the school or you're gonna or you're gonna get no respect. People were fighting every day. Every day.
Yeah, I understand. Like, I mean, like, but that's
disrespecting the teachers.
It comes into play. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but like the documentary shows a high school, if not comparable to the high school that y'all seen, it possibly even worse, possibly slightly a little bit less worse, you know, or slightly a little bit better in terms of, I don't know what it is, but it shows like that's like the other side of the coin when it came to your high school. Like, it's to say, like, this does work, but it works under circumstances. It depends on how far these teachers are willing to go to assist these children in becoming better.
I would also,
how far like are you going to continue to fight and beat against the unmovable object?
I would also argue exactly what you just said. It heavily depends on the kid. It's
right,
like,
yeah. I agree with you.
Topic the other time. It's like, yo, you have all the water here, all the resources, all the essentials, all the teachers. Prime example for Emerson, there was after school for everybody. When I went to Roosevelt, we had to wear uniforms now. We had to stay extra. We had to talk to the teachers at the school. There was all the resources. But if you didn't want to do it, you were on that first bus back home.
Yeah.
You were not interacting with no teacher. There was nothing.
No.
And yes, I do agree, because it's like, yo, if you can reach out just a little further, you may be able to actually get to that child. Because at the end of the day, they are still just children. Their brains are still developing. You know, so there is time.
But I think that the teachers should continue to do this. That's why I'm saying, like, teachers should continue to put the effort in. You gotta put 100% of the effort in, because you will eventually reach a good amount of numbers to change something. You are going to affect something. You are the first people, you know, teachers are the first people to be able to affect society in itself. Like, that's how it is. You know, that's how, to some degree, we've gotten children to be a part of the process of advancement in society. That's just how it is, you know. So, at the end of the day, like, the teachers need to continue. Now, the child, the student, that's a load of different factors that the teachers cannot control. Hopefully, the teachers hit a chord, and I salute each teacher, each instructor, each principal, professor, whoever it is, mentor. If you hit the chord and it changes the child for the better, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. You did everything you did, and it worked. Yeah. If it doesn't, you can't beat yourself up, because you're not God. You're not an all omnipotent person. You don't have that power to affect everyone.
Listen.
But you tried. That's about it. That's all. That's my main point. Don't give up trying. Stop, you know, you gotta continue to bang your head against the wall until the wall breaks. And if it doesn't break, you go on to the next wall and see if that wall breaks. That's basically what it is. Do the best that you can. So, it's
definitely a weird situation. Truthfully, with being a teacher and then trying to also be a mentor at the same time.
Right.
It's definitely one of those things where kids are not going to be able to. Kids don't really want to sit down and listen to you. Listen, sometimes it's going to be times where your class may be out of control today. Listen, Jimmy just jumped off the desk and started making fun of you. It doesn't matter. Like it's gonna be days where it's just gonna be I've been in classrooms where it gets weirder and weirder and weirder throughout the day where people are telling, teachers to do these things to, yo, I don't even like you as a teacher. Yeah, my dad's gonna come up here and beat you up. There's kids like that. There's kids that just gonna continuously just do these things, and they're not gonna show the respect to you sometimes. But
I get it. I understand. Those are the kids. That's where I think the guidance counselors need to come in. They need to really, hopefully they can dig into ways to help the child at home or something. Give resources for them.
I'm actually glad that you say that. I think that the guidance counselors.
But I'm gonna be honest. Like we should probably Trayvon.
You want me to close it out? Well, you could have closed it out, but
I could have closed it out, but I feel like you got the majestic voice that we all need to hear, that everyone needs to hear.
Listen, it was a great episode 4. Check us out Friday. Sorry, we didn't get to talk about. Matter of fact, we didn't even get to talk about Moon Knight in its last episode. We didn't get to talk about that.
So we'll talk about the Moonlight episode on Wednesday. On Friday. That seems like a pretty good topic.
And also tomorrow, I know people are going to watch the greatest movie of Marvel's time. Doctor Strange does come out tomorrow, and if you guys are going to go see that, I'm definitely seeing that tomorrow. That is definitely going to be a cop. Definitely have to see that first day. Cannot wait to see that. We also didn't get into another topic that we were supposed to get to yesterday, but we had the last episode in episode 3 where we was going to talk about New York crime. We didn't get to do that, but hopefully Friday, we can get to these topics, and also, I hope everybody had a good night.
Definitely subscribe, follow, and share. The YouTube and the Twitch. For everyone that's on Trayvon, Trey Guns and Crownless, Twitch and YouTube. Don't forget to share and
like and subscribe.
Share the love and enjoy everything. You can follow me and subscribe to me at Unique Story. Unique based off of the word, and story with a big 0 instead of an O. And
it's going to be well balanced. Hopefully by episode 5, episode 6, hopefully we are looking into getting a theme song, and also we're gonna have everything well balanced. We'll have everything more well balanced. So, I hope everybody had a good night, and good night, guys.